Hello everyone, Jak Syn here on behalf of TourFiend.com and Future Daze, and today it's another exciting episode of Artist Interviews. Today, I am sitting with Levinsky. How you doing today?
Hi Jack, I'm doing great. I'm having a day off, so I've been enjoying the weather here, strolling in the forest, enjoying good music, reading, stuff like that. All good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's the little things, going through a stroll in the forest is nice. I would love to go strolling in the forest, you know what I mean? But, I know right now with everything happening, where you're at and where I'm at, it's like even though we're on two different sides of the world, it's the little things that matter, like you're talking about listening to the music, enjoying working on stuff and just going on strolls. That's what's important right now. I think a lot of people, we're craving this entertainment value, but I think what we are learning through all of this is that we are kind of going, hey, you know what? I can kind of make the most of my time.
Indeed. Yeah. I know what you mean. That's precisely how it is. Little things are important.
Exactly. So today, we're going to ask you a couple of questions and see where it goes from here. Are you ready to get into it?
Absolutely.
What are three of your most memorable moments from your musical career?
Those definitely have to be releasing my debut full-length album, Electro Complex, back in 2019. That was really a kind of a life-changing moment for me because I have wanted everything to be pitch perfect for that album, since it was my kind of a first release ever in this type of genre, this type of synthwave, electronic music, whatever you want to call it. That was a big moment, and obviously not only for the reason because I also wanted to create really good quality physical releases for that album, which took place. So I produced vinyl and also cassette tapes for it, not to mention the other shirts. And I had a privilege really to work with a great local Finnish artist, Mrs. Ninni Kairisalo, on the artwork. That's definitely a kind of a big milestone for me. Secondly, I would say up to present, my performance at the inaugural Helsinki SynthCity Festival in 2019 in November here in Finland, which I also got to arrange and organize. And we were also bringing people like Robert Parker from Sweden and Nina from Germany, UK, to the festival, and they were also headlining there. And maybe the third thing here would be my first gig, which happened at the 5-year anniversary party of Flashback Future Club, a very famous club here in Finland, bringing artists like Perturbator, Carpenter Brute, and Ghost and Danger to Finland over the years. So those three probably are the kind of easy picks for me, if you like.
Those are some pretty awesome moments, you know what I mean? Like, being able to play with those artists, like up on stage, like being able to work with them, so, I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, so what was that experience like, being able to work with these different artists?
Yeah, if I take, for instance, the festival I was arranging with the Helsinki SynthCity crew here in Helsinki in 2019 November, people like Robert Parker, hi Robert, from Sweden, and Nina, hi Nina, from Germany, UK. So great folks. It was really a kind of an experience of being a part of family. So everybody being very nice to each other, no issues, whatever. Totally on the contrary, having good chats, exchanging views, talking about experiences, about playing live globally, things like that. Of course, it's a kind of a thing that you will always remember. And I also think that we treated our people, our guests, very well. So that was also a kind of a matter of honor for us. So we really wanted everything to be perfect in that sense. I'm repeating that again. So being perfect is something that I probably like a lot. At least I try to strive for it. It's not the end all be all, but I really like to do things with good quality. And I think the festival was also a major success because we basically sold out the whole venue, Äänivalli, here in Finland. So about 700 people more or less attended the festival, and we had about eight artists playing there. Robert Parker and Nina, like I mentioned, and also the other Finnish guys. guys here, like for example, Millennium Falk, Ace Buchanan, Kitchenaut, VVOV from Gogola, and people like that. So all good in that sense.
That's awesome. Like having everybody connected for that show, being able to sell out that venue. I mean, it really goes to show how many people really take an interest in this style of music. Like artists like Nina, Robert Parker, Ace Buchanan, these are artists that I love and admire as well, and they're such great people. So I know, like when you were working with them, I'm sure, like you said, it felt like a family atmosphere, and that's the great thing about this scene, is that a lot of the time when you're talking with these artists, they're very accessible, they're very easy to talk to, and it just really does feel like one big family atmosphere.
Yeah, I guess it's really down also to the fact that if you think about the synthwave scene globally, if you like, it's not a kind of a huge thing really yet. Of course, you have lots of claims, lots of little notions about the genre slowly moving or seeping into the mainstream, if you like. But I think there still is a kind of a pretty close knit type of feeling for the scene, and of course, in different parts of the world, things differ. You might have different circles and things like that, but I think in general, it's kind of a pretty open, pretty warm atmosphere, all in all. I would say so.
That's definitely true, right there. I mean, and a lot of things too is like with the fans. Fans are very diverse. The fans that come to the shows are very diverse. Like they come from all different types of backgrounds. They love all different types of music. They're very eclectic with what they listen to. So I mean, we see that at our events here in LA as well. Some of our events in New York and San Francisco, like we get a big range of different types of people that show up and come to these events. You have your metalheads, you have your hip hop people, your electronic people, your punk people. It doesn't matter. Like everybody kind of unites for the style of music. So it's really great to see that you guys are helping to kind of push that forward where you're at as well.
Yeah. Speaking about LA, I have some great news because I have been collaborating for my new album Nocturnes. There will be a song which is actually featuring an artist from LA, a rising female artist called Barahari. You can find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So she's featuring on one track for the forthcoming album. And of course, speaking about LA, I could drop a few names of bands that I've liked a lot for a long time, or just found, like for example, people like Slayer, of course, and Youth Code. If you know Youth Code, they're an industrial band. Seen them live as well here in Finland. So those type of things, it's easy to sort of resonate or sort of connect with the other things that you mentioned. That so many different types of people attending the same shows. There's a good feeling, lots of good energy, atmosphere, and all that. So
definitely right. And I'm looking forward to this new release you have coming out. I want to hear it. I want to experience it. I think it's going to be amazing.
Thanks a lot. I personally think so too. So I've been working on it for over a year now, and I must say that I want to strive naturally to be better than the predecessor, if you like. So I think it's, in general, it's kind of a good principle for an artist to revise, go back, and of course develop and find new influences, incorporate them into your sound for your next release to be sort of raising the bar once again after what you did the last time around. So I think it's all in all, it's very natural, and it also has to come naturally. So you can't really rush things. I know that many people are releasing like singles every month, things like that. Nothing wrong with that, but probably that is not for me. So I always want to put a lot more thought, a lot more time, a lot more effort into everything I do. So that probably dictates the kind of a release cycle for me, at least for the time being.
Right. I know what you mean about that. It's like sometimes, when you're working on something, you take a lot of care. However much time that's going to be, doesn't matter. You have to put that care into whatever you create. I mean, if it takes a couple of months or it takes a year, it takes 2 years, it doesn't matter. But once it's released, you could bet your bottom dollar it's going to be super solid.
I'm just listening to an audiobook about music and making music. And there was a really, really good expression in there it said, every album that you put out as an artist, you should think of that as a tattoo. So you're basically going to live with it for the rest of your days. So think everything you release as a tattoo. That's a nice way to put it. I don't have any tattoos, by the way, but I can relate to it.
You know what? That right there is a new thing that I've just learned right now. Think of your art as another tattoo on your body. You know what I mean? It's gonna be there forever. Exactly right. What would you say is your favorite music release that you've ever worked on?
That has to be my upcoming album. Like I just explained, I've literally put my heart into it and even more. That's going to be a hard work, if you like. I really like to use that word for it. That's what I call it at the moment. Ticking about over 40 minutes, 8 tracks, everything thought very carefully through, really building on emotive feelings. There's a lot of darkness, but there's a lot of beauty in the darkness. So if I could sort of describe how the album is going to sound like, it's going to be beautiful. That has been the kind of a first and foremost sort of, how would I say, requirement for the album from the start. I'm probably moving a bit further towards a kind of a more sort of dark wave or dark synth pop type of sound, but still I'm having the kind of a usual cinematic qualities blended in there. So definitely it's probably going to be a slightly more accessible album than Electro Complex probably was for the kind of a commonplace listener. But still, I would say that in a way it's a more progressive album as well than its predecessor. So hopefully it's going to be an interesting package for everyone.
You know what? I'm looking forward to hearing it, and I know a lot of other people out there are looking forward to hearing it as well. And you know, that's great that you described it as a beautiful album. And a lot of the stuff that you create, you know, that I've listened to from you is very beautiful. It is very like, it's feeling oriented, but it's like very atmospheric. You know, it's like very big dynamic sound. You tend to really kind of push that forward. I just love that kind of work that you do. I mean, and I know a lot of other people out there enjoy it as well, but it is some really solid and polished work, my friend.
Thank you so much for that compliment. It's really heartwarming to hear that, because that's exactly how I would like things to be with my music. And if I muse a bit about why I like things to be beautiful, I think I'm probably a pretty aesthetic person, if you like. And also, if you think about Finland, if you think about Finnish composers, people like Sibelius, for instance. So I think they had great skill of composing this kind of a majestic type of music, which was always still, regardless the force or the power within the music, it was always very, very sort of sensitive, emotive, beautiful. I probably think, or I like to think that I probably could reach a bit of that kind of a same sort of feeling in my music. So of course, and also as many people know, I'm a big fan of movie composers, like people like Ennio Morricone or John Carpenter, people like this. And I think also the way I like to incorporate cinematic things into my music, it really brings me the kind of a possibility of exploring beauty in music in that sense as well, making it really visual. I want to tell stories with the music. That's probably one thing to say.
Well, you know what? I will tell you this. Your music does tell a story, you know, and the way that you design it and you create it is very beautiful, because there's a level of care, of deep care that you put into your songs. Like, each song is different, but it's all part of a full collective. For me, I could really see it, you know, and I could really visualize it being part of a movie score, being an entire movie, you know what I mean, cinematically telling a story from start to finish. So thank you for making some really amazing stuff.
Thank you. I'm speechless. That's a great compliment. Thank you.
What was the drive behind getting you into making music?
You know, I've been into bands pretty much all my life. And before I started my project, I think I had about like 6 or 7 years when I didn't have a band, when I didn't sing, when I didn't play bass, when I didn't play guitar or drums or whatever. And I was sort of having a kind of a bit of a hiatus from music, so to speak, to be honest. And then my brother actually, he introduced me to Carpenter Brut and the trilogy, the first 3 EPs. And after listening to that stuff for a while, I sort of had the feeling that, okay, now this is really something that I would like to try out and experiment with. And also, since I grew up in the 80s already, so I could relate to those sounds. I could hear like melodies from certain like Italo disco hits, or for example, from scores by John Carpenter and things like that. So I immediately sort of had a feeling that, you know, this might be something that I could try out, and that's how it went. So I really had a kind of a birth, of a pulse inside me to make this type of music. And it seemed a very, very sort of natural thing to do after all those years of pausing with actively making music, actually. And one thing that I also love about electronic music or synthwave, call it what you want, is that it's really not tied to any place or tied to any situation where you could do this, but it can actually compose on the road, when you travel, when you have breaks from work, whatever. So you have a great freedom of doing things. And also like to think that I'm using this freedom also to incorporate whatever influence or whatever idea I might have from my musical past, for instance, to bring into the stuff that I do now. So that's a kind of a great sort of richness or liberty, if you like, in a way.
You know, that's great. Like you were just talking about, you know, so you grew up in the 80s and you were exposed to these awesome sounds, you know, like you said, the John Carpenter, you know, the way that he would design his music for his movies. But it's kind of funny how, like, as we progressed over the years, you know, and then we started coming into, like, I guess, after the first 10 years of 2000, and all of a sudden, like, this resurgence started, you know, showing back up, you know, of that kind of, like, taking those influences from the 80s itself and creating new music that elaborates on that, but is very cinematic in its own way. So it's, once you're exposed, you know, like being exposed to Carpenter Brut, it like transports you back to that time, like takes you back to that kind of era as being a younger person, you know, kind of going like, wow, I just enjoy this you know, composition of music that is so cinematic and it just speaks to me. So then you being able to create from that, it's like you are influenced by the past, but influenced by the future at the same time.
Yeah, both levels at the same time, if you like. That's
Exactly.
That's a nice way of putting it. Yeah.
You know, and you're right. You know, this style of music, you know, however we want to call it, you know, synthwave, outrun, retrowave, you know, dark synth, whatever, you know, you feel comfortable, you know, calling it, everybody out there. It's very fluid. It could be changed and molded into whatever you want. It's like I was interviewing Neon Arcadia the other day.
Yep, I know that.
And I was talking with Benny and his thing, and he had shown me a little clip of something that they were working on, right? And it was a promo clip that they were working on. And I was like, oh my God, this has saxophone sounds, but it also has like metal drums and saxophone sounds. And I was like, this is very creative right here. This is what this style of music is all about. It's about being creative. It's about breaking down walls, breaking down barriers, and kind of just exploring whatever we want to explore emotionally or musically, if you will. So I think that with this style of music, you can play around and do all kinds of great things with it, just like you're doing with your very beautiful, cinematic, you know, feeling-oriented, emotive music that you're creating.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear, and I would really like to just sort of pick what you said. You were saying emotionally, and that's a really, really important word to say, because I think if I were to give any piece of advice to any sort of budding musician, if you like, or anybody wanting to start to make music, I think the kind of the first thing would be to ask yourself, why do you want to do this? And I think one of the most important things for me is really to sort of being able to communicate a kind of a scene or a vision or a feeling that I have inside my mind, which I can, for example, weave a story for. And I would like to represent that feeling, that emotion, that visualization with music to people who then can themselves feel the same thing, or anything else that, you know, should that piece of music should evoke in their heads. So I think this, for me at least, is by far the first and foremost reason why I do music. I want to channel the emotions, the visions that I have for people to enjoy or relate to, or whatever. So
exactly. And I think, you know, you're right. You know, as an artist, everybody out there, as an artist, you know, when you're going to start your path down this, you know, when you're going to start the path, the musical path, kind of ask yourself, you know, like, what do you want to do? Like, what's important to you? Like, what do you want to convey? I think in this type of scene that we're in this music that we love, I think there are a lot of artists out there that do start their path just wanting to contribute to the sound that's being built on, contributing to adding to the, you know, adding that next layer, adding that next wave, whatever you want to do. I think that a lot of these newer artists that are coming out today, their main focus and their main goal is just to add to it, you know, contribute to it, contribute to a sound that to them has given them so much joy and so much expression.
that's kind of a very nice sort of culturally analytical way of looking at things. It really sounds like that to me. So and of course you can find similar things from other genres, like for example hip hop or metal or whatever you want to do that. So that's a kind of a natural progression, I think, as well. But I really think that for an artist, it's really important to find your own tone or find your own language in music, so to speak. Of course, many people chase some kind of an ideal that they have in their head, for example, a major influence or something like that. And of course, I think it's really okay to do that because it gets you started, it gets your creative juices flowing, whatever. But I think it's important to really find your own sound, find your own tone, if you like. And I think personally, the way to do that is really to be honest with yourself when it comes to your influences. You must feel free, as you said as well. So you must feel free to sort of incorporate anything you like. You should not be sort of, you know, bowing down to gatekeepers or whatever, if you like, but you should do you best. You are doing your own music best. Always trust that. Always go by that path, as you said. And I really like that you're using the word path because it's a journey. It's a musical journey. And that journey always involves work, a lot of work. Of course, some people might take shortcuts or whatever, but they might be dubious in the end of the day. You must put everything into it if you like it to be good. That's how I view it, at least.
And you know what, to everybody out there, there is no set path. It's going to go in all different directions. Anything that you're doing with your music, anything you're doing with anything creatively, it's all going to go in different directions. But you can bet that it's going to be an uphill battle sometimes. It's going to feel, you're going to feel defeated sometimes. It doesn't matter what kind of journey you are on, you're going to feel defeated sometimes. But always know that there is a silver lining. You can reach any type of success if you put your mind to it. And you know what? Everybody's successes are different from somebody else. So remember out there, do not base your successes on somebody else's successes as well. So just do you, create your music, and pour your heart and soul into it every time.
That's exactly how I see it.
What are you looking forward to accomplishing the most moving forward?
There's a few things. Before the pandemic, you know, I had a gig already confirmed in the UK, in England, in Brighton. And of course, we know how the world went with the pandemic. That was cancelled, or at least it's being transferred into somewhere in the future. Also, with a couple of friends of mine, musician friends here, Millennium Folk and Ace Buchanan, we were having plans actually just about to realize to play the US and also to play Canada in July, the month we're living in at the moment. So, but we know that the world is a bit different place now. So hopefully we can return to those things, those dreams later on and make them happen. And I think we are pretty adamant to make it happen, of course. And then, of course, one of the big things that I would like to do or achieve would be to score a film. And to be honest, I have something cooking in that area, but we'll find out later about that. So those two things are pretty easy to name.
Well, you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing you on a movie score. I'm looking forward to you scoring a movie because I think that's going to be amazing. Because, like I was telling you before, your music is, you know, I can visually see it as a score to a movie. I definitely can. And, you know, it's like with a lot of things that happened recently, you know, in the past couple of months, we had the rug pulled out from under us. Like we fell flat on our faces. Like a lot of us around the world didn't expect any of this to happen or to the level that it has happened. But I think with everything that has happened, we've been given a time to kind of reflect on some of the stuff that we had going on before all of this happened. And just because we're on kind of a pause right now doesn't mean that shows are not going to come back and happen again. Doesn't mean that, you know, artists aren't going to be able to play live anymore, or, you know, we're not going to be able to express our art in a live forum anymore. We will, you know. I think right now a lot of people have adapted with what's going on. Hey, you know, for me, a lot of the events that we were working on, you know, halted. But I know that once things return to, I guess, we finally settle into our new normal, you know, and live events do return, I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to getting out and just going nuts at some of these events because they're going to get to see their artists again. So to everybody out there, if you're a promoter or an artist, like, don't get discouraged about that kind of stuff, you know, because live events and live music and, you know, live venues, they will return. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but when they do, it's going to be epic.
I definitely agree with you. And to share some piece of news here, we already have our second ever Helsinki SynthCity Festival in our calendars. That's going to happen November 14th here, if everything goes well. And we surely hope that it goes. And we already have confirmed 2 headliners. One is from France, and the other one is from the UK. But I can't reveal the names yet. You can participate in a little draw and guess and the Helsinki SynthCity Facebook pages. But we have things cooking, and the big festival is not the only and sole one of them. So we have also other things building up here in Finland because now the restrictions have been loosened, and I think the kind of general direction is looking positive. So we're positive as well that we can get back into live action sooner or later here as well.
Well, that is some really great news. I'm excited for that. I mean, I would love to come over there and experience, you know, your guys' festival. I think that would be amazing. I'm just excited that things are, you know, that you guys have that on the docket and you guys are going to make that happen. Hoping, you know, like with all hope, you know, that things are going to be fine. But it's like, I just think that that's great that you guys, you know, have that in the works and that it's going to be one hell of a show. And I know you can't say the artist, but to everybody out there, it's like, keep your ear to the ground because when they get announced, I'm sure you guys are going to be like super psyched to go check it out.
They're going to be top quality headliners, that I can say. Yeah.
All right. I'm looking forward to that announcement. What positive message would you give your fans out there?
Never give up. Always do what you want to do. Don't listen to anybody else. Keep your own head. Carve your own path. Make things happen the way you want to do that, and be true to yourself. I think if you keep these things in mind, you can't go wrong. You're going to be up. It's going to be good.
Yeah, you do. You have to be true to yourself. You know, like be true to who you are. You know, it doesn't matter if you're just an artist, even if that's music or whatever you create or whatever you do. It doesn't matter. Be true to who you are. You know, don't settle for things. Always put your heart and soul into everything that you do and everything that you create. I know right now with everything happening in the world, you know, everybody's, you know, down. Everybody's feeling, you know, this collective weight of the world on their shoulders. But I think right now, with everything happening, this is the time to push it all in. This is the time to put everything and your creative power into what you're doing. And I think that if you do that and you focus on those things, you can achieve some really amazing stuff, because some of the best things in the world came from people who were true and held steadfast to what they were doing in their lives. So thank you so much for taking this time to do this interview today. Thank you to everybody who took the time to tune in and watch us have this conversation. To everybody out there, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our Tour Fiend YouTube channel, as we have many more awesome artist interviews on the way. So thank you so much, Levinsky, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.
Absolutely the same. It was a great pleasure. Thank you, Jack. See you soon.
And to everybody out there, be sure to check out Levinsky's music. It is some amazing, beautiful music. I love it. You guys are going to love it as well. And also, be sure to check out the Helsinki SynthCity festivals that they have cooking, coming very, very soon. They are some amazing, top-notch events with amazing artists, and they really do care about what they're doing. So to everybody out there, dream it, build it, let it grow. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Take care, everyone.